Hi everybody, and a very big warm welcome to this webinar all about speaking about your business. I am so excited. I've got some fantastic stuff lined up for you today. What I want to do is just to go through a couple of domestic things with you. Now, if you scroll down the page, you will notice there's a little chat box there. It's a chat hosted by something called Livefire. And you have to actually sign in to be able to chat. So you can sign in through Facebook or Twitter, or there's a couple of other social media options. And if you don't want to sign in with any of those, you can actually just put in your name and email address to sign up for a Livefire account. It's absolutely free, and that will mean that you can join live chat while the webinar is going on. And that's where you need to be if you want to ask any questions. And then at the end of the webinar, I will go through the chat and I will answer any questions. I won't answer them during the presentation, but I will come and have a little look at the end, and I promise to answer any questions that appear within the chat box. So that's basically how that bit works. So again, a very big warm welcome. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome my very special guest speaker. I'll give him a proper formal introduction a bit later on, but for now, hiya Matt, how are you doing? And I hope you can hear me all okay.
Hey Tina, really awesome to be on board, and I can hear you absolutely loud and clear. Isn't technology brilliant?
It is, it's fantastic. And what absolutely thrills me is that we've got people, not just all over the UK, but people have registered for the webinar in the States as well. I get that people over the West Coast may not be on because it's about 6 o'clock in the morning over there, so they might actually get the replay, but certainly our friends in the New York area and time zone might well be on. I think it's about 9 o'clock there. 9 o'clock their time. So yeah, big welcome to everybody. Now it'd be really great if people could just say hi in the chat box, let us know that you're there, let us know that you can hear us. Apart from that, I'm going to crack on and I'm going to get straight into the content, because I have promised you a webinar full of amazing content, and that is exactly what I intend to deliver. So I'm going to spare you having to look at me, and now I'm going to share my screen so that I can go through my slides with you. So here we go, and a huge welcome to Start Spreading the News. And if you're like a lot of people I know, a lot of business people, they find it really difficult to blow their own trumpet and spread the news about their business. And that's what today is all about, is helping you to do that. Now, here's some startling information for you. A lot of people advertise their business, they rely on their website, and they do banners. But we see anything between 3,000 and 20,000 marketing messages every single day. I mean, how likely is it that your message is going to stand out amongst all of that noise? It's actually quite frightening. And this is a piece of statistical information that really shocked me when I saw it. Statistically, a person is more likely to survive a plane crash than they are to click on your banner advert. So if you're relying on banner adverts, Facebook ads, and all that kind of stuff, you are really selling yourself short when it comes to telling people all about you and what you do. Okay, so how do people then, rise to the top and get themselves known? Well, quite simply, your ability to get noticed in amongst all of this marketing noise depends on your status. And what do I mean by status? Well, if you have a look at this little pyramid here, and let me take coaches as an example, because there are a lot of coaches that I work with and who are struggling to get their business known. Now, the big mistake a lot of people make is that they are a generalist and they try and be all things to all people. So just because you can do a lot of things doesn't mean to say that you should. So for example, when I first started, I had a background in corporate training and development, so I could do leadership training, I could do team building, I could do public speaking presentation skills, I could do minute taking, for God's sake. There were so many things that I could train in, but it doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to try and market to become all of them. It's impossible. So the best way is to make a start by becoming a specialist. And I looked at what was most important to me, what I enjoyed doing the most, and the thing that I excelled in, and that was speaking. But being a specialist isn't enough either, and I'm kind of for a long time just stayed in that specialist field and didn't take that leap up into expert. Now, here's the thing. You have to claim expert status. All right. You cannot just do it, become an expert. And here's the sad fact. Just by being good at what you do is not enough. All right. I'm going to say that again because it's really important. Being good at what you do is not enough. You have to absolutely put your flag in the ground and claim that expert status. And you have to shout about what you do. And that's why I'm doing this webinar all about spreading the news. You have to spread the news about what you do. And there's two key ways really of taking that expert status. One is writing books and getting books published, and the other one is speaking. And let me tell you now, speaking is an awful lot easier than getting books published. Now, obviously you can self-publish on Amazon, but again, that's a bit tricky. Speaking is so much easier. Now, you just look at the people who are again, doing extremely well for themselves. Now, you've also got this niche called the celebrity niche, if you like. So you look at all these celebrity chefs, the ones who are on TV. They have claimed that celebrity status. Now, here's the good news. You don't have to claim celebrity to be a celebrity in order to get lots of clients and really get a name for yourself and be mega successful. You can take the speaking further and you can get there, but hey, as long as I can get you to expert, that is, so much easier to do, and it's going to get you fantastic results. Alrighty, so what we want to do then is to help you get there. And the thing is, this is an upside down pyramid, because income is kind of the opposite inverted triangle of what I've just shown you. So the generalists, there are more of them, but they only earn a small percentage of the income, and as you go up this pyramid, that's where your income escalates. Obviously the celebrity guys are earning so much more than people who are just generalists, so it's common sense really. So what can we do to get you to expert? Well, first of all, I want to make sure that you stick around right the way through this webinar and stick around to the very, very end, because you're going to get loads of information that will help you to get speaking so you can start to become an expert. At the end, you're also going to get some extra content from me, but Matt's just said hi to you. He has got some amazing tips on how to speak to sell, because again, as we go through, you're going to see how important it is to sell. And I don't mean, when I say selling, I don't mean selling through all the hypey, hard close, nasty technique stuff, but you have to get your stuff out there. The people who need you need to know about you, and they need to know that you have the solution to their problems. I'm also going to give you a very special template to download that will help you to start putting together some great presentations. So it's a tool that you won't want to miss, so make sure you stick around to the very end. Okay, so before we get into everything, I want to ask you a couple of questions. All right? Why are you here? What is it that's made you sign up for this webinar in the first place? I want you to really think about that. It could be that right now you don't have enough clients. You could have, a few clients, you could have several, but maybe you just don't have enough, and maybe they're not coming in as consistently as you would like. So perhaps your list of subscribers is very small. And because of these, you don't have the income that you would like, and it's not as consistent as you would like. However, the big thing that most people go into business for is not actually for the income. It's because they want to make a difference in the world. And the thing is, if you don't have enough clients, you're not making that difference. And for a lot of people, that can feel very uncomfortable, because then you feel like you're not walking your talk. And that's important to an awful lot of people. So what it ends up is, it's feeling like you're wallowing around in the treacle. You know, you're literally in the mud and you're stuck. Okay. So what you want instead is to be a superstar, to have a massive subscriber list, to have plentiful clients, and to be able to make that big difference in the lives of others, which is so rewarding. Of course, that will also give you the income for your dream life. And when I say the income for your dream life, I'm not talking necessarily here about 7 figures or even 6 figures, but it's the income that you want for your dream life. Now, that might mean a very modest income, but you've got the time and the quality to really enjoy it. Okay, so it's just about making sure that you have what's right for you, you know, and that you are setting your lifestyle up the way that you want it. And what that then means is that you become that role model and that inspiration for other people. Okay, so that's what you want instead. And what I want you to do now is to think about where you would be in a year from now. So if you were able to really develop your speaking skills, where would you be in a year's time? What would that look like for you? What kind of a difference would it make in your own life? Because that is what's really exciting. Okay, so what I would love to be doing is a webinar this time next year with the exact same people that are on this one, and have a look at how far you've come, and you know, the big changes that you've made during the year by implementing the stuff that I'm going to be going through with you. Okay, so what's the vehicle then from wallowing around in the mud to becoming a speaking superstar, or to becoming a superstar? Quite simply, the ability to speak to groups of people, and having a strategy also to be able to do so. Now, if you look at anybody who's really successful and who is that expert authority in their field, most of them are speaking. They're speaking at events, they're speaking at networking meetings, you know, they're speaking on conferences, they're doing webinars, they're doing videos and all sorts of things. Okay, so it really is essential these days to have this skill. And I'm not going to go into this next bit too much, because when you signed up, you would have been given a link to a pre-webinar goodies page, which gave you all these reasons that you need to start speaking. Now, if you haven't seen this, because for some reason the email with the links went into your spam, just send me a message and I'll make sure you get that page. What you need to do is, you know, whitelist my email address. And certainly if you're using Gmail, it might have gone into your other folder, but there's a great video in there which I really go into the reasons you need to start speaking and how it can make a big difference to you. The other thing that's in there is 15 ways for you to connect with your potential audience. All right. Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this now because it's in that video, but there are so many different ways for you to connect with your audience. There are so many ways for you to get out there and spread the news about what you do, so that you can start making that big difference in other people's lives, and in doing so also make a big difference to you in your own life. Okay, so first of all, I want to give you the 3 big and common mistakes that most people make when they are speaking. Okay, the first thing is that they identify themselves by label. So what do I mean by that? So you go along to a networking event, you get talking over coffee, and somebody says, "Oh, hello, what do you do?" Is that answer to that question? What do you do? And they say, "I'm an accountant." How boring is that? And then what they do is they go on and talk about their business, and they're like a talking brochure. So they'll say something like, "Hi, I'm an accountant, and what we do is we help people with their tax affairs. We've been established since 1982, and we're a family firm, and we've got an office on the high street, and we help people with their tax planning, their bookkeeping. We do inheritance tax, we blah de blah de blah de blah de blah." And it's the biggest switch off ever. It is not engaging. Okay, so what you need to do instead, and here is the number one secret that I promised. When you are talking, do not make it all about you and your business. I know this is a webinar that's saying talk about your business, but here's a secret. People couldn't actually give a monkeys about you and your business. What they care about is what you can do for them. So the number one secret is it is all about the audience. So how do I relate that to introducing myself as an accountant? So you're over coffee and you might say, you know, somebody says, oh, hi, what do you do? I help small business owners to stop paying money to the government that they don't have to, so that they can keep their money in their own pocket and, do much better things with it. Yeah. All of a sudden, I might be thinking, yeah, I don't want to pay money to the government that I don't have to, So you're relating what you do to them. And by saying, if you're a networking meeting and there are loads of small business owners in the room, you're talking directly to your audience. So you say, I help small business owners stop giving their money needlessly to the government. Yeah, see the difference? It makes a huge difference. So that's the key insight, number one. Now, the secret. Now, the first insight that I want to give you about speaking is the difference it makes to memory. Now, remember, I went, right at the beginning, I was talking to you about all the noise out there. So a lot of people might write blogs, they might write articles, and they've got written stuff on the website. Now, here's the thing. We remember 10% of what we read. So if you've written text, such as blogs, Facebook posts, which are text-based, stuff on your website, which is text, people are only going to remember 10% of that. They remember 20% of what they hear. So if you're doing podcasts, yeah, you're at least going from 10% to 20%. If you use visual images, so really great graphics, we jump up to 30%. But here's the great thing. People remember 50% of what they see and hear. And this is where speaking starts to come in. So when you're speaking, you're automatically seen because they see you. If you're using visual aids, such as PowerPoint slides or props, that kind of thing, people see that and they can hear you. So automatically, you're now jumping to 50%. But if you get people engaged with discussion, so you ask questions, all of a sudden you jump to 70%. And if you engage some emotion, then you can increase that to 80%. So if you can get people excited, now obviously it's a lot easier to do this on stage than it is in a video or on webinar, but you can still get up there. So you're looking at anything between 50% and 80%. And this is why speaking is such a fantastic tool in spreading the word about your business. Okay, does that make sense? Fantastic. Here's the second insight. Speaking is easier than you think. It really is, trust me. A lot of people do not like the idea of speaking, and in fact, in many surveys, it is the number one fear out there. So it puts people off. They think there's an awful lot to it, but let me tell you something. Speaking is a skill, that's all, and a skill can be learned. But the big thing is, most skills, they do need to be learned. Like if I was going to say to you, I'm going to stick you on the back of a horse and you've never ridden a horse, in your life, and I'm going to take you out over the moors and I'm just going to say, right, go and gallop, to your heart's content on the moors. Yeah, you're probably going to be frightened because you've not done it before and you've not been taught. So the chances are you're probably going to fall off and hurt yourself. Okay. Speaking is the same. So many people think that they should just be able to do it just because you know how to speak in terms of having a conversation. Speaking on stage, speaking on video and webinars, it's completely different. Okay, it's a skill that has to be learned and taught. But the great thing is you can learn it. Now, people say to me, yeah, it's all right for you. You're a natural. Well, let me tell you, I haven't always been a natural. When I first started, I was terrified. I used to go red. I used to stammer. I've never been shy, but I had a huge problem. Those training courses where you stand up and you have to introduce yourself and say what branch you're from and your job description. Oh, my God, I used to die. It was awful. But if I've learned it, you can learn it too. It really, really is an awful lot easier than you think. You just need to be guided step by step and you'll be absolutely fine. Okay, a little bit about me. Now, again, I'm going to make this really quick because there's more about me on that pre-webinar video, and there's nothing I hate worse than webinars where it's all about the speaker's story. Okay, all you need to know is that I have become very successful. There are a few people who are paid professional speakers who are teaching public speaking presentation skills. Most of them are trainers who have, okay, they've been paid to stand up and speak in front of about, I don't know, a classroom full of 12 or 15 people, but they've never spoken actually on a stage at conferences and been paid for it. Equally, there are a lot of people out there who are professional speakers and they've been paid very well, but they have no clue how to pass that skill on to others because they've not been trained in the art of teaching. Whereas I'm both a qualified trainer and coach, and I've been there, done it, got the t-shirt, and I've learned by mistakes as well as by doing it right. So I can really help you avoid the pitfalls that I've made. I made sales of $16,000, which is about £10,500 just from the back of one webinar. And you can do it too. And you know, the great news is that now I've got continuous monthly income. That's all I'm going to say about me for now. If you want to know more about me and my credentials, again, just click over to the pre-webinar page, watch the video, and I've got a whole list of my qualifications and stuff like that at the bottom. But trust me, you're in safe hands. And the big thing as well, I really believe in what I do, and I really want to give great value. There are a lot of people out there who are teaching, and to be quite frank, they're only in it for the money. If you don't already know me, as you'll get to know me, you'll see that I'm really passionate about helping you develop your skills, because that's what lights me up. That's what puts me on fire. But anyway, like I said, this isn't all about me. It's all about you. So I want you now to start thinking about what speaking can do for you. Okay. I'm not here to tell you that if you get good at speaking and follow my programs, you're going to earn 7 figures or 6 figures or whatever. I can't do that. What I can do, though, is get you to look at your world. Okay. If you got 1 VIP client, how much would that be to you? All right. And I want you to write this down. So if you had 1 VIP client, let's not go nuts here and say 10, let's just say 1, you know, really VIP client, high end, what would that give you? As an alternative to that, what if you got 10 mid-range sales? So what would that give you? And again, write that down. Or if you made 20 to 30 really nice low end sales, something like, I don't know, $47, $97. Okay, what would that give you? And if you could get any one of those options in just 1 talk or webinar, what of a difference would that make to you right now? And imagine if you did that on a regular basis. Every time you spoke live or did a webinar, and again, webinars can be live or automated. What would that make? What difference could that make to your income? And that's what's exciting. And I want to kind of encourage you to get out there and do it, because the more you do it, the more confidence you get. The more confidence you get, the better you become at it, so your results get better. So the whole thing really, you know, is a fabulous virtuous cycle, and you know, you just get better and better results, and that, you know, grows your confidence, and then before you know it, you are that expert and you believe it as well, which is fantastic. Okay, so let's have a look then at your, you know, if this is what we're going to do for you, when do you need to do it? Well, quite frankly, that just depends on how long you want to take to go from wallowing around in the mud to being a superstar. So if you want to go, you know, from the mud to the superstar right now, then do it now. If you want to do it next, you know, year, do it next year. But Why would you want to wait? You know, why would you want to wallow around in the mud when you don't have to? Because it's easy, and you haven't got to go from, you know, you haven't got to jump in the deep end. This is what the great thing is. You can start gently. So instead of, you know, some people like to jump in at the deep end, and sure, we can do that. But if you'd prefer to start in a shallow end and swim confidently towards the deep end, fantastic. You know, you can do that too. So let's put speaking in context. Now, it's quite simple, really. And this is the framework, if you like. There are pretty much two major types of speaking. One is face-to-face, which is like on stage or in meetings, or it's using technology, so it's through webinars or videos, okay? Any of those 15 ways pretty much come into these four categories, you know, so all the different ways for you to engage with your clients boil down to one of these four methods. And if you can get good at speaking in these four methods, you are going to be absolutely miles ahead of other people in your field. So they will be the generalists, and then you will gradually start to specialize and then claim your status as that expert. Now, there are 5 key ingredients, if you like, to being able to deliver a great presentation. Okay, so the first 4 ingredients are: number one, you have to have the confidence to do it in the first place. Then you have to have great content, and that on its own is not enough. You need to have what I call charisma. Okay, and charisma is the way that you deliver it. Now, if I ask you to think of speakers, you know, who have got great charisma, who does that kind of conjure up for you? And what is it that they've got? And I'm going to be talking about charisma more at the end, towards the end of the webinar, because this is a, you know, really sexy ingredient, really. The thing is, you have to have all of these, okay? Because I've seen people who've got bags of confidence and their content is rubbish and they have no charisma whatsoever. I've seen people who've got most fantastic content and yet they don't have the confidence. Now, here's the great news. If you've got confidence and content, you've automatically got a certain amount of charisma. But I can help you work on all of these. And then what we do is we add the 4th element of continuous improvement, and boy, you can be a really special speaker. Now, what's the 5th ingredient? Now, at the heart of this is selling. But you might be thinking, no, but I'm not a salesperson, I'm not in selling, I'm helping people. You might be actually even working in the corporate environment and you're not even a selling role at all. That doesn't matter. Let me tell you now, you have to sell ideas, even if you're not selling products for money. So you could be in a meeting. It could be that you're in your, I don't know, your local committee meeting for your cricket club or something, and you've got an idea that you want to implement. You've got to sell that idea to them, you know? So it doesn't matter what you do, you actually need to be selling every single time you speak. It's called, a lot of people hide this under the persuasive speaking kind of, because people have got this natural allergy, if you want, to selling. But this is at the heart of it all, okay? It's about, you want people to move from stuck to solving their problems. But let me tell you, people hate change. So they're going to stay stuck unless you are able to sell them the reason that they should stop being stuck. So you've got to get good at being able to speak to sell, not just to sell products, but to sell your ideas and to get people buying into why they should give up their old habits, why they should give up their old ways that are keeping them from moving forwards. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay, so that's the context. Now, what I want to do is that covers pretty much the presentation, but the presentation on its own is not just what it's all about. You need to speak to the right people about the right topic. You need to have extreme poise. Now, I'm saying poise, not confidence, because do you know what? You can be nervous, but you can still have poise and carry that off. You need to be speaking on the right platform as well as having a killer presentation. And most people out there, they just teach you how to speak and deliver a great presentation. They don't teach you this other stuff. And I'm going to show you now, over the next sort of 20 minutes or so, why you need all this other stuff. I should have said at the start, by the way, this webinar isn't going to be strictly an hour long. It will probably go over because we've got such great information for you. So it's probably going to be somewhere between an hour and an hour and a half. So, but again, like I said before, it's really worth sticking right the way to the end because of the great information that we've got for you. So let me go through this. Now, I've created my 5-star speaker system to go through all those things that I've just talked about and to guide people through everything that they have to do at every step of the way. So this will take you automatically through all of those key ingredients that I've just talked to you about. So let's go through them. So the first part is what I call the swarm effect. Okay, now this basically means it's about the right people. So the swarm is your following, your tribe, if you like. I liken it to bees around a honey pot. You want to be the honey pot and you want lovely friendly bees around you. You don't want wasps who are going to sting you. You want bees who are going to help you to co-create an amazing journey. Okay, so the swarm effect is the first S of my speaker system. Okay. The next one is then you've got to talk about your prime topic, because people only want to hear what's of interest to them. They don't want to hear what you've got to say. You've got to get good at learning how to present your stuff in a way that is of interest to your swarm. Like I've said, then you need extreme poise. Next thing you need to do is you need to start thinking about your arena and where you're going to speak. So where are you going to, you know, hang out with your swarm, how you're going to connect with them and all that kind of stuff. And then finally, the thing that most people focus on, which is the actual killer presentation itself. So let me take you through these in a little bit more detail. So the swarm, now you'll bear in mind, it's taken me probably something like 15 years or more to learn everything that I've learned about speaking. I'm not going to be able to pass all of that on to you in just 1 hour or so webinar. Okay, so I'm going to go through this kind of quite superficially. I'll expand on 1 or 2 points, okay, but at least you'll get an idea of the direction and where you need to go to get more information. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to go through every single one of these points, but for the swarm, the thing that I want to focus on is today is the W. What is the W? Well, the W is the wobble. What is it that makes your audience you know, wobble their lower lip, if you like, you know, wobble in terms of staying awake at night? What is it that really kind of gets them off, you know, sort of upset, that literally they don't want to stay stuck anymore? Okay, so let's say, for example, weight loss. If you talk about weight loss, people know in their heads they need to lose weight and get fitter, but unless you connect with what makes them wobble, it's not going to happen. So you've got to kind of talk in terms of, you know, what it feels like for them when they go into a shop to try some clothes on and nothing fits properly. You know, what does it feel like when they're getting ready for a really important party, like a wedding or a Christmas do, and their clothes just look bulky and crap? You know, what is it that's really going to make them decide that actually they're going to take action? Because most people, in fairness, know what they have to do, but they don't take action. You need to connect with this wobble, okay, so that you can move them forwards. And then what you need to do is be able to talk about how actually, you know, and it's no good saying, yeah, it's easy, because that makes them feel worse, because then they'll feel, you know, that they should have been doing it, and then you get all sorts of things going on. But you say, do you know what? It's a skill, you can learn it. You know you should be doing it, but you know, hey, to go from here to there in one big leap, it's a bit like I said to you earlier on, you don't have to go in the deep end with speaking. Actually, it can be easy if you start easy and take it step at a time. If you take it one step at a time. So if somebody's got to lose 5 stone, that's going to seem daunting. But if you say to them, let's just focus on the first 2 pounds. Let's just focus then on the first half a stone. Let's forget the rest. You can lose £1. All right, and then so you give them the wobble, and then you give them hope. All right, and this is the how you're going to connect with those people. There's so much more to it that I just really don't have time to share with you, but hopefully I've given you a few tips here today. And also, you've got some people where there are no, or let's say there are no obvious wobbles. So I know that one of my buddies is listening to this webinar. Hi Daniel. Daniel is my dance teacher. So he perhaps is going to have to look at, somebody like him is going to have to look at this slightly different. Why should people dance? Well, there's no obvious pain that stops dancing. But what you can, and he's really good at this actually, because what you do is you just focus on, are you wanting to lose weight and get fit, but you actually cannot stand the idea of going to a gym every day? Well, hey, guess what? Come salsa dancing. You'll burn them calories off in no time, and it's not a chore. You'll have absolute fun. Okay, so you need to get creative about this. If you're in an industry where there isn't an obvious pain or wobble, you've got to associate, you know, because people are motivated by two things. They're motivated away from stuff, and they're motivated towards stuff. And you need to use both. All right, so anyway, that's enough about the swarm. So you've got to connect with your audience, and then you've got to talk about the actual topic that's going to get them there. And you need to be able to make sure that your topic is the thing that they are going to relate to. So I've just given, you know, it kind of, this is very similar to the swarm. They're very interlinked. There are differences, and there are different things you have to think about with each section. The thing I want to talk to you about within the prime topic here is the M. And this is what is going to help you to really get that expert status. And that is, you frame your knowledge around a model or a framework. If you think about anybody who has claimed that status of expertise, okay, most of them are known for some kind of model. Just think about, for example, psychotherapy. If we take sort of 50, 60 years ago, there were shed loads of psychotherapists around. But one has stood out, and here we are 50, 60 years later, we are still using his stuff. And I'm talking about Abraham Maslow and his hierarchy of human needs. He is still talked about now. Was he the best psychotherapist at the time? Maybe, maybe not. But the important thing is he developed a model that people just suddenly hooked onto. And everybody knows this pyramid now who's in the field of personal development and therapy and all that kind of thing. So you don't even need a complex model. You know, the Maslow's hierarchy of human needs is literally, it's been expanded since, but the original was just 5 parts of a pyramid, you know, sort of 5 levels. And it is so well known and so used now. So he is, like, you know, become this great big expert. So one of the things that I encourage you to do is hang what you know around a framework. The other thing is it makes it easy for people to remember, and the more they remember you, the more they're likely to be able to refer you, etc., etc. It's so important. So you need a model as part of the topic that you're going to talk about. And again, I'm in a calculator. I've got a 6-week signature system course that will help you, you know, to do that. So I don't have time to share all of that with you now, but start looking into how you put a model together, a signature system, which is going to, you know, help you to claim that expert status. Okie dokie. Now, are there any questions? If you've got questions, again, remember to put your questions in the chat box as we go through, and I'll come to them at the end as we go along. Okay, so the next part of the equation then is the E, which stands for extreme poise. And okay, I've had to make this fit a little bit because confidence or poise didn't start with an E, and I wanted E for my speak system. So you have to use a bit of artistic license every now and again. So what is extreme poise all about? Oh gosh, there's so much to this. If you want to know more, I've actually written a book which is available on Amazon called Befriending the Bear of Public Speaking. there is so much to tell you about how to have poise when you're speaking. Like I said, you do need to have confidence, but I don't want you to confuse this with not having any nerves whatsoever. Let me tell you now, the nerves to a certain extent will never go away. And that's a good thing, because if you have no nerves, you actually become quite complacent and then you don't give a great performance. I got nervous before doing this webinar, but what I've learned to do is channel those nerves into excitement. You know, I'm nervous because, you know, I want to do well. I want people to get great value out of what I'm giving, and you know, I love connecting people, so I just channel that into excitement. And a lot of it is just to do with the label that you put on those feelings. But there's an awful lot that you can do to kind of take those feelings that you get, reduce the intensity of them, so that you can really use it to positive advantage. And I'm going to talk about the I here, because the I is all about intelligent learning. There is so much to speaking, and like I said earlier, you really need to learn, but you need to learn intelligently. So I want you to imagine, okay, I think most of you have probably seen a war movie from time to time. I want you to imagine that you're in that war movie, and I want you to imagine that you are on the battlefield. All right, so if you need to, shut your eyes. I want you to put yourself in that battlefield. And you're there, and you've got bombs going off, and you know, bullets whistling past your ear, people shouting, people screaming, there's the noise of explosions, and you have this desperate need to get to safety. And there is safety over there, okay? But between where you are now and over there is a landmine, and you have to cross this landmine to get to safety. Now, the first way that you can do it is you can just do it by yourself, and you can trust to luck. So that's going to kind of look a bit like you sticking your foot out and hoping that when you put your foot down, you're not stepping on a landmine. Now, how likely is it, do you think you're going to get to the other end of that landmine field, okay, all in one piece? You might do it, but you may well have a few battle scars to show for it. You may, you know, you may crash and burn, and you may never get there. Okay, so it's actually not that well recommended. Okay, second option, you could get a map. And what you could do is you could take your map and look at where the landmines are and navigate your way through the map. Now, how likely is it, do you think, that you're going to get there? Much more likely, yeah? And your map, if you like, is the equivalent of books, self-study courses, anything which is going to show you the way. Now, the only thing is, obviously, it does take you longer because you've got to sit there and study the map. And there's still room for error because you might actually not have the map orientated correctly. So you might have it upside down, and therefore you might still step on a landmine. But it's certainly better than the first way, and going it totally alone. Or you can do it the most intelligent way of all. You can actually hook up with a battlefield veteran who knows the way, and you follow them. They take you by the hand and you follow them. So as they step and as they take their foot up, you step into where their foot was, and so on and so forth, until you get very quickly and easily to the end of that landmine and you get to safety. Okay, that's what intelligent learning is all about. What is the most effective way for you to learn what you need to know, and at the speed you need to know it? Okay, so that's just giving you a bit of a metaphor there. And once you do that, your confidence is going to grow. Think how much more confidence you would have at navigating that minefield, following in the footsteps of a general, than if you did it alone. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about here with poise and how to increase your confidence. There are, again, loads of other things involved in this, but like I said, I don't have time to go into them all in detail here today. But I'll be telling you later on how you can get, you know, the missing parts, if you like, of the story. Alrighty, so the final, the fourth star in the system is all about your speaking arena. Okay, so this is all about logistics. This is all about, first of all, where that arena is going to be and what you have to do. Do you know what? I have seen so many people speak at events and they haven't kind of given a thought as to all of the things that go along around the edges of their presentation. So they haven't even taken business cards with them, let alone details of where they might be speaking next, or details of their program, or details of how to become a client. You know, it's bonkers. You know, you've got to kind of think about this. And you've also got to look at the different arenas and what you're allowed to do in terms of all this. So there'll be some places you can speak and they're quite happy for you to speak and sell from the stage. There are other places where they say, no, selling's taboo. So what you've got to do is you've got to create other ways of connecting with those people in the audience. Some places will say, no, you can't have a table where you can put your merchandise or your information. In which case you say, well, the only way I'll speak at that kind of event is if you pay me. Otherwise, you know, if I can't connect with the audience, what's the point in me speaking there? Okay, so there's so many logistics for you to think about in terms of the actual speaking arena itself. Okie dokie. So moving on then from the arena, finally we come to the actual presentation itself, and I've got what I call my 5 C's of all how to put together a killer presentation. And what I'm going to do is tell you just about the first one, which is the how to construct it. Now, what a lot of people do when they're putting their presentation together is they either start with a good old-fashioned pen and paper, or they'll start with an empty PowerPoint presentation, and they will attempt to start at the beginning and work their way through to the end. No, that is not the way to do it. All right. When you construct it, you have to construct it and construct the framework before you ever start writing the words. All right. So, and the place that you start is actually at the end. So before you even start constructing it, is what is the purpose of your talk? What do you want your audience to think, feel, and do at the end of your talk? Let's say I'm a fundraiser and I'm at a charity event. I want people to put their hands in their pocket at the end. Okay, so you got to be very clear. It's not that I'm educating people about this charity. Hello, I want them to give me their money. I want them to put notes into my bucket. Okay, get very clear about what your talk's about and construct the entire talk around that ending. And what you've then got to think of is what kind of ending is going to do that. Now, if I'm a fundraiser and I want people to put their hands in their pocket, it's no good being shy about it and saying, oh, and by the way, if you do think this is a great cause, it'd be really nice if... No, you've got to say, people, this is important. These people are suffering. Give us your money. There's a bucket going around. Be generous. You know, you can afford it. These people need it. They need, you know, you've got to really think about the ending, and you've got to start with the end in mind. You know, IBM once said, start with the end in mind, and that's what you've got to do with speaking. Then you kind of need to think about the next most important thing is, so the ending is all about the call to action. Okay, the beginning is going to be all about basically making people sit up and take notice. Okay, because otherwise they'll be asleep halfway through your presentation. You need to give them a reason. So after constructing the end, you think about the beginning. What is it that's going to make them sit up and take notice? Now, you might remember that at the beginning of this presentation, I kind of gave you some statistics around people see up to 20,000 messages a day. So if you're relying on your website or blogs or text or anything like that, actually people are more likely to survive a plane crash than they are to click on your ad. Yeah, shock people, Get them sitting up and taking notice, or ask them questions. Engage people, give them a reason. Okay, these are the two most important parts of your presentation. And then what you do with the middle is you join the two dots together. You take people on a journey from that beginning to the end. Now, a lot of presentation people will tell you that you do an introduction, which is tell them what you're going to tell them, then you tell them, and then you tell them what you told them. No, that's all the body. This is what you do in the middle, and then you top and tail it with your amazing get people to sit up and notice start, and then your amazing call to action at the end. And I told you to stick around to the end of the webinar, and I'm going to give you a template. It's a simple template, because simple is good, to help you construct a presentation. Now, I've got a lot more templates where that came from. And you know, if you're selling stuff, you'll need something perhaps a little bit more complex. Okay, but if you know this is a great template and it's a good starting point for you. Okay, so the construction is really important, and then your body needs to also be constructed in a way that makes sense for people. Which is one of the reasons why I like to talk about a model, because you take people through the model and it all makes sense. So let's say I'm a gardener and I want to talk to people about gardening. I could ramble all over the place. No, you want it neat. There are different ways of doing it. You can construct it where I go on a chronological timeline. So I can say, right, I can do January to December of gardening, or I could do, you know, spring, summer, autumn, winter of gardening if I want to keep things simple. Or I can do it spatially. So I can say, right, well, what we're going to talk about today is your lawn, your vegetable patch, your patio, and problems, something like that, you know. So there's lots of different ways you can arrange it. So the important thing is to get your construction right, and that's only one of the 5 C's. If you want the rest, you need to listen in out later on how you're going to get your hands on them. Okay, but I hope I've given you something now straight away that you can actually start using immediately. Okay, so let's recap then. So speaking can increase retention, yeah, from 10% to up to 80%. You need to build an expert strategy, so you need to put together great content. You need to plan your schedule and select your events and stuff. And you need to make sure you're speaking to the right people, with the right topic, with extreme poise, on the right platform, so the right arena, and with a killer presentation. Okay, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how you can get more information on this, but I want you to stay to the end, because I'm still going to talk a bit more about charisma, and we've got the wonderful Matt sitting patiently in the wings to share some of his best speaking to sell secrets with you. Plus I'm going to give you the download where you can get that template to help you construct your presentations. But first of all, how can I help you to do all this stuff? Because like I said, I can't tell you everything I know in an hour-long webinar. So the first thing is I am going to be holding a super special Speaking for Success workshop on the 7th of May at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Heathrow. I am going to give you so much of this missing information that I haven't had time to do on this webinar, and I promise this is going to be a great event. Registration starts at 9:30 and coffee and networking and all that, and then we'll kick off the event at 10. That's just so that it gives people time to drive or, you know, fly there or whatever. It just gives you a bit of time, and then we'll probably finish somewhere between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. I will though be hanging around in the bar afterwards, so I'm not shooting off anywhere. So if anybody wants to come and join me and have a drink afterwards, pick my brains and all that kind of thing, you'd be very welcome. Now I want to say something. This is not a pitch fest. Now I know that a lot of people come to events like this and the event is just one sales pitch after another, after another, after another. I promise you this is not going to be one of those events. This is going to be a content-packed day. You will have stuff immediately after the first hour that you can go away and use with your business immediately. And it will be like that right the way through the day. And my great guest who is also speaking on my webinar today, he is also going to come and do a special talk and actually talk you through a speaking to sell process. So you know, if you're familiar with me, because I know there's a few people on this webinar who know me, know my stuff, and have actually bought my programs, just come for that section alone. It will be worth it, I promise, as well as the reminder of the you know, the stuff that you've learned from me already. And if you're new to me, you definitely want to be there, because I've got so much stuff to share with you. You'll also get access to my private 5-star speaker Facebook group, where you can chat to your fellow speakers who are on the journey with you. Now, what's your investment? A lot of people charge a fortune for this. Without naming names, I know some people who charge several hundreds, and I know one or two who even charge thousands just for this kind of information. Actually, it's the normal price for this is only £87, but I'm holding open the early bird discount just for this weekend to only 47 quid. Honest to God, I couldn't give it away for, you know, I mean, this is literally cost price. I'm just going to be covering the cost of the room hire. And the reason for that is because I am passionate. I do what I do because I love it. And what I want to do is I want to tell people how you can work with me further, so that I can be that general, take you by the hand and take you through that landmine step by step. Okay, having said that, if you just want to take this one day and leave it at that, that's fantastic. And again, it's not going to be a pitch fest. I'm going to mention it. I'm going to mention how you can join my general program, and that's kind of, you know, that's it. Okay, so you're going to absolutely learn heaps. Now, just below the webinar, very shortly a button will pop up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the sales page where you can register for the event, and I'm going to put it into the chat so that you can, there you go. But there will be a special link that comes up later on as well anyway. Okay, so there's the link for you to come and join. Like I said, it really will be worth it. Okay, so that's pretty much what I wanted to tell you about. The one thing I should have mentioned is that as well, I'm so confident about this that you are absolutely going to love it. That if you find that you get there on the day and I'm not meeting my promise to give you great content and great information, I will even give you your money back. Okay, I can't say fairer than that, can I? Now, I promised that you needed to stick around for three main reasons. The download, Matt's great stuff. I just wanted to tell you a little bit of extra snippets about charisma. Like I said, think of anybody who's a great charismatic speaker. All right. I think Martin Luther King is the absolute ultimate in having charisma. Now, a lot of people think that charisma is something that's natural. Some people have natural charisma, sure. Some people have more than others. But it's something that most definitely can be learned. Like I've said, if you have great content, you can come across as really charismatic. I can help you write your content in a way that you build charisma into it, okay? By using sneaky, what we call rhetorical devices. That's a big, long, fancy way of just saying it's not what you say, it's the way that you say it, okay? And this comes across in the words. On top of that, then, it's the delivery of those words, yeah? So, again, if you have confidence, your delivery is going to be better. But it's also, I'm just going to give you one little tip here, and there's more where this came from, but I want you to take this little tip. Think charisma. So you could say, let's say you're telling your story and you want to say that there was a time when things weren't going so well for you. Yeah, you could kind of say, when I was at my low point, yeah, and that gets the message across. Instead, you could say it with charisma by saying, when I was facing my deepest darkness of despair. See the difference? Yeah. We've got a couple of things that's going on there. We've got what we call a triad of alliteration: deepest, darkness, despair. Okay, it's rich vocabulary. It's the way you say it slowly with every word, you know, counting. Okay, that's three little words. That's one tiny phrase. Imagine if I can help you, yeah, putting this through your entire presentation and speech. Okay, I love this stuff, and I'm really excited now because Matt, bless him, he's been so patient. But I am now going to hand you over to the wonderful Matt. I'm going to first of all give you a little bit of an intro about him. Now, Matt is a guy who is the most wonderful salesperson in the entire planet. Okay, he has helped marketers around the globe with their selling, and he's worked with some really big names right around the world, predominantly in the US as well as the UK. But what I love about this guy is he's not full of what I call the hype and the nasty hard selling closes. Now, he's enthusiastic. That there's a big difference. You know, he's very enthusiastic about his selling and his stuff, but he teaches you that it's about love, it's about integrity. And what I love is this guy does deliver on his promises. I am one of his mentees, and I can tell you that what this guy knows is just phenomenal. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand you over. And I just want to do one thing. This is going to be worth waiting for, people, but I want to hand you over to the most one and only. Here we go. You ready for this? I'm being a bit slow with my props here. Drum roll. I introduce Matt Nerona. Welcome,
Hey,
Matt.
thank you so much. That's really, really awesome. Matt Nerona here. And Tina, first of all, what an awesome job you're doing.
Thank you.
Really good content. And I've been taking notes. So, you know, I'm one of those. I'll fill my boots where there's some really world-class content coming across. So, Tina, really appreciate you and the content that you're putting out there. I know a lot of my friends are here, you know, on the call today. First of all, I'd like to greet each and every one of you that's listening in today. I really appreciate you spending time on your Saturday to come and listen to us. And, you know, that tells me one thing about you, that you're really keen and really committed to grow your business, grow your offer, grow your speaking skills and your communication skills to the next level. It's a wonderful day here in the UK. The sun is out, and really appreciate you coming on board and listening to us. As Tina said, my name's Matt Nerona. I'm based in the UK. I've been selling high ticket offers for the last 18 years, commission only. I don't sell, I don't eat. And, you know, I've had a lot of fun doing that. And I've learned a lot of things on the way. Kind of had to, right? So I've met some really cool people and worked with some really, really awesome people. And you know, the one thing that I love about my selling career is the people I've met on the way. I've met some fantastic people, and I've had the privilege to be able to serve them, but also to be able to really help them get an edge in what they're doing. People like Tina. I connected with Tina, probably about 3 years ago. And she was a client of a firm that I was working with at that time, and we connected and we kept in touch. And it's just really nice to see how people are progressing. So I haven't got too long today. I want to state my intention first of all. And my intention is to give you something in the next 10 minutes that you can absolutely just walk away with and put into your business, whether speaking from the stage, or whether that be on a call, or whether that be communicating in a meeting face to face. I'm going to be talking about speaking to sell, and I'm going to do that in the next 10 minutes. I've got a bit of a job on my hands, but here we go. My intention is to give you something that you can absolutely run with. And for those of you that are coming on May the 7th, book today. The reason being is we're going to be able to open this up a lot more, a lot deeper, and your return on investment will be absolutely massive, you know, from that day. But also it's going to be really good to see you and, you know, get to know you and connect with you. That's so important. So I want to talk about ethical selling, because when you're selling from the stage, it's, well, there's two ways you can do it. You can do it ethically or you can do it unethically, okay? And I want to talk about unethical selling first of all. There's a lot of selling out there that we see from the stage at big events where people get pumped up and it's kind of run to the back and, you know, this offer's only valid for the next 15 minutes. I heard a guy once say, run to the back. And if you're not running fast enough, we're not going to take your order. And, you know, crazy stuff like that. And I saw a lady with a walking stick hobbling to the back and I felt so bad. And I said to myself, I would never sell like that. I would never be party to that. You know, and the truth of the matter is I've worked with a lot of big names and, you know, you hear about stuff when you're in the inner circles of the industry. And, you know, I've seen people on stage sell a 5K deal from stage and tell them that they've only got 5 minutes to make their mind up. And 50 people run to the back, sign up. He's got them all on stage, standing there, getting their photos taken. And, you know, when the orders were processed the very next day, I heard from people in that office that 40% of those orders cancelled. So, you know, the unethical selling, it doesn't work. It looks good on the day. People, the next morning, they wake up to their bills and their finances and realize that they don't want to do it anymore and they cancel. Who wants to sell like that? You know, I want to work with people that have integrity, that really want your service and get value out of your service. And those kind of people, you never have to pump up. You never have to push them into doing something in a moment that they really don't want to do. So what we're talking today is we're not talking about unethical selling. We're talking about ethical selling. But the reason I mention unethical selling is because the reason they get you to run to the back of the room is because of the leverage. You know, that leverage of, oh no, fear of loss. I've really got to go and do it now, okay? And you still need leverage. When you're selling ethically, you still need leverage. Because, you know, as human beings, we will take the path of least resistance. So I want to buy your 3K deal. I want to buy your 5K deal. But you know what? Next month, it's going to be easier for me to make that decision. So we still want to have leverage, but we want to do it ethically. So how do we do that? I've got about 7 minutes to kind of explain that to you now. And these are notes that I've kind of taken from my experience. There's nothing really new under the sun, okay? So I don't have any mystical secret that I'm going to give you. This is all stuff you know, but it's stuff you may not be using as efficiently as you possibly could. And when you make it your focus, I promise you, when you start to communicate your message, you will sell a lot better. You will sell at higher prices. You will sell to audiences that may not have been moved before. So please pay attention. What I want to talk today about is the leverage that you need to sell ethically. And the leverage is connection. A lot of people talk about rapport. A lot of people talk about connection. Very few speakers connect well with their audience. The first thing that you have to do when you're selling from the stage is connect with your audience. And when I say about connection, I mean deep, addictive connection. You have to connect with your audience so that they want you in their life. And if you just remember that from what I've taught you today, you will add 20%, 30%, 50%, and even more to your revenue this year, just by focusing on connecting with your audience. Now, is that just limited to the stage? Absolutely not. Could you connect more in your emails? Could you connect more in your marketing? Could you connect more in your sales conversations? Could you connect more with your clients? Because pre-existing clients do carry on working with you. They do refer business to you, and you can upsell them into programs which will serve them at a higher level. And there's a big clue in that word them, because the way we connect with people, as Tina already alluded to, is not by making it about us. It's about making it about them. So when you get on stage, your intention must be about them. Your intention must not be about you and you trying to sell a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5K deal. or a 100K deal, right? The intention has to be about them. Make your focus about them. How can I serve you? How can I help you? Are you going to be around afterwards so we can speak at the bar or the coffee bar? You know, could we have lunch together? You know, the intention has to be, I'm really excited to meet you. And so when I'm speaking on a stage, whether it's like 20 people or whether it's 1,000 people or whether it's 5,000 people, I will connect with groups in that audience. And within segments of the audience, there are little groups, usually around clusters of one or two people. And I call them energy groups. And if you come on May the 7th, I'll show you how to recognize these energy groups. And I'm not getting all woo-woo. I know there's some woo-woo people out there, and I can go a bit out from that way too, but I'm not getting all woo-woo now. But there are energy groups within the audience. I can show you how to work those energy groups. And we connect with that audience. So you become one with that audience. You step into their shoes and you understand their needs at a really high level. And that, my friends, is so, so, so attractive. So you imagine your own offer. You're standing on a stage. Tina's taught you all of her presentation skills, so you're now world class. You're good at what you do anyway, and now you can connect at a much deeper level. That's what gets the right people to buy in the room, or the day after, or the week after. It's that leverage where they're absolutely compelled to work with you. And it comes from connection. So before I finish, I'm going to give you a little bit of a task. And this task, if you play full out, will really, really help you. My task that I want to give you today is until we meet on May the 7th, and I can give you the whole picture, which you're really going to love, right? I want you to connect deeper with your family. I want you to connect deeper with your partner. I want you to connect deeper with your friends. Whenever you're speaking, connect. Connect, connect, connect. You know, when you connect with someone, go back to a time when you've ever really connected with someone, like deep. It's almost like in 2 minutes, you're like soulmates, right? I want you to get that type of connection in your everyday. You could be in the corner shop. You could be in the supermarket. Connect with those cashier ladies. I mean, man, they do such a good job, right? I love cashier ladies in the supermarket, superstore, right? Connect with them. Ask them how their day is. And in that moment, look into their eyes and connect deeply. Connect deeply, human to human. So my task for you all, if you want to play full out, is in your everyday life, friends, family, associates, people you pass by, people you say good morning to, people in your office, you know, people in your dance academy. I know Tina's into dancing. Connect to the deeper level. Because when you can do that from the stage to the audience, people will buy. And remember why this is important? Because for most of us, we're not the only people out there selling in the market that we're selling to. There are other choices. Everyone's online these days. So my challenge to you all is connect deeper. Connection is the key. It's the leverage piece which allows you to sell elegantly from the stage. My name is Matt Nerona. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I would love to know you and help you. You know, hit me up on Facebook, Matt Nerona, N-O-R-O-N-H-A. What a cool surname. Hit me up on Facebook. There's not too many of us around. Matt Nerona, I'm the big guy, the good looking one. You know, hit me up on Facebook and let's connect. Tina, I so appreciate you allowing me to come on here and speak to your audience. It's been such a blessing. And thank you so much for the quality information that you're providing to everyone today. Matt Nerona signing out.
Thank you, Matt. Epic. Brilliant. Thank you so much. And I'm definitely going to take up that challenge this very evening. I am indeed going dancing. So I will be practicing my connection on every single dance I have tonight. So if you're still there, Daniel, you can do the same. Brilliant. Okay, fabulous. That's amazing. Now then, are there any questions? Now, I know that there's been quite a lot of people on the webinar, but not that many people have actually signed into the live fire chat. So if anybody's got any questions, now is the time to ask them. Let me go through. No, I don't know. Have you got any questions? I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. There you go. So you can hopefully see me now rather than the PowerPoint presentation. And I want to thank you, Matt, for all that information, because it is so important. And do you know what? This kind of selling stuff, whether you're selling products or ideas, links into your confidence. This is one of the things I've struggled with over the past few years. I got through my training to be very good at speaking on stage, but when it came to I mean, the things I wanted to do was inspire people and move them from being stuck to being, you know, where they could be instead. But I also, you know, wanted people to be better speakers, and I wanted to sell my stuff. But because I kind of been taught by other mentors that you needed to be hypey and close and use what I call the wrong kind of leverage, I actually got uncomfortable. And instead of my confidence going up, my confidence actually came down because it didn't resonate with me. It didn't feel authentic to who I am. And I know that that is going to be the case for so many people. So, you know, again, I want to say thank you to Matt, because this ethical selling is something I know is dear to the heart of so many of the people that I connect with in my circles. So there is another way. It's not just the, you know, pump them up, send them running to the back of the room stuff, which, you know, is awful. All right. So if there are no questions, have you got any questions that occurred to you, Matt, that people might want to know about, but are either too shy or haven't figured out the technology of signing in to Live Fire to ask them?
We haven't had any questions. I've had a couple of people reach out to me on Facebook and just thank you, Tina, for the excellent content that you provided. They're very excited about the 7th.
Cool.
But no, there's no questions as yet.
Okay, cool. In that case, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to wrap up. I'm just going to share my screen again briefly. Okay, so if there are no questions, like Matt, I am also going to set you a challenge. So you've got 2 challenges. One is to connect more deeply with your family, your friends, whoever you come into contact with. And the other challenge from me is to book a speaking gig and start spreading the news. Do not wait, okay? You don't have to jump in the deep end. You don't have to book a conference within the next week. Go to your local networking business group. You know, there are loads of business groups about. You've got Chamber of Commerce, BNI, for networking. You've got local business groups. Go along, because every single one of them usually allows you the opportunity to give a little pitch about your business. Okay, they call it the elevator pitch, or and again, there's more than one type of elevator pitch that I can tell you about. And if you come along on the 7th of May, I'll be equipping you with different types of elevator pitch so you can start speaking. But go and start practicing now, because quite frankly, if you've taken the time to watch this webinar and you don't do anything with it, you've wasted your time. Okay, and you wasted my time as well, and I'm here to make a difference. So in order for me to make a difference, you have to take action. All right, so I really want you to do that. And then, you know, please think about coming along on the 7th of May. And my leverage is that for the next couple of days, I'm going to keep it at 47. Now, the reason why I have to keep this only for a couple of days is not because I want to do the hypey stuff, but quite frankly, I have to book and pay for the room. And I need to make sure that that room is paid for before, you know, we get there. So you've only got a couple of days for me to make absolutely certain, and you know, it's a timed event, people. So I need you, you know, I need you to make a commitment. So you've got a couple of days, and then I'm going to put it up, because you know the event is definitely going to run, but you know, to make sure the room is paid for, because they're, you know, you can imagine hotel rooms in Heathrow are quite expensive, and for me to meet my costs, I'm going to have to put the price up to make sure I meet the room. So you've got a couple of days to do that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen again, and just say thank you so much for giving your Saturday afternoon up. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you coming on board and giving your Saturday afternoon up for me as well. This is what such a lovely guy he is. He's given his entire Saturday afternoon up to help me and to share his wisdom with my followers. And I just want to appreciate every single one of you who's made the effort. And for anybody who hasn't been able to watch live and is watching on the replay, I'd like to thank you as well, because whenever you watch it, you're giving up an hour and a half of your time. So thank you so much. And please do send me messages, get in touch. Both Matt and I are available on Facebook, and we would love to hear more about you, about what you do, and about how we can help you. So please stay in touch. And without any further ado, I'm going to say cheerio, sign off. Have a fantastic Saturday afternoon. And any of my friends in Aberdeen, and Daniel, if you're still on a webinar, I'll see you on the dance floor this evening. Cheerio. Bye-bye.